Hello. Hello. Welcome. Are y'all ready for Shork Talks? How is it going? Welcoming. How is everybody today on this Sunday? The weather's very nice today. I told my mom that and she went, wow, it's a shame you can't go out for a walk then, huh? And I went, wow. Okay. Hello, I'm definitely not a doctor. I guess I am a teacher of a sort today. It's shorkin time, that's right. Buenos dias. No, I'm no PhD here. One would expect a lot more if I had one of those. Good evening. I hope Final Destination was good. I think I saw some commercials for that one. Every now and then, roommate watches YouTube on the TV. I see a movie trailer. Feel very sick. Well, may sharks make you better. Evelyn the Professorlin? Sure, for today only, I guess so. I guess perhaps. How are you guys? How's it going? Before we jump in to the deep end. Oh. Finally, lore stream. Yeah, yep. Shark equivalent of dad lore. We're about to see some crazy redacted that mother won't allow. Are we? What do you got for lunch? Is it a morto? Is it a sandwich? It's a manga? Nice. Nice border. Thank you. I might need to make it a little smaller. We'll see how or move some things on my slides. I realize they might conflict, but we'll see. Thank you. Aren't they cute? There are a lot of other things I could have done for this stream, but I at least did that and found some aquarium core music. Oh, pizza! That's beautiful. That is honestly the correct choice for this. Late for class? Not in the slightest. We're just yapping a little bit before we get going. Welcome in. Pizza's always good. I kind of wish I had pizza now. Once again, I don't know what I'm eating later, but that's a later me problem. For now, I had lunch. I got up on time today, and well, I mean, I've been getting up on time, right? But I was especially intent on it today, and no dragging my feet this morning. I may have rather poorly estimated the time I needed to prepare for this stream. So yesterday and today has been a little bit of a rush, and I may or may not have it put together as well as I should. There's definitely some things I wanted to get to that I didn't, but that's okay. Hopefully, wow, that sounded like my phone buzzing. What was that? Hopefully it will work out. I did not get around to organizing my notes. I went back over them, and I think that all my slides will sort of remind me of the things I want to say, but we'll see. We'll hope for the best. This is gonna be, I think, largely a test of my memory. But we'll see the proper meal for this momentous occasion. Is this momentous? I don't know. Hello, welcome in. Fulfilling the need of dancing in the town square. Excellent. But yeah, this stream is a little bit on the, let's say, experimental side of things. I am not 100% sure how it'll but we're gonna see. Hopefully it'll work out good enough. It'll be fun. And you guys will learn some things and enjoy. We'll call it avant-garde. There you go. Do they have names? Bob, B, and wait, Bob, A, and B? Sure, if you want. They aren't immediate relatives of Boo. They are a different kind of shark, but we can go with that. Yeah. Maybe that last one should be BI. Or just bi, I don't know. Bob B. What? None of these sharks is an imposter. None of the 5 sharks currently on the screen. Though we might see some sharks today that I don't know. Is sharks just for the stream? Yeah, I do. I did remember to do that the other day. Unlike the music, which I only remembered this morning, I went, oh, the music for the stream. I don't know what it'll be. And I didn't want to just have the regular, but I remembered in time to find it. Yeah. What do you say we jump in? What do you say? You see my mouse? Okay, good. We want that. Let me. There's one thing I forgot to do. I didn't get myself set up so that I can scribble on my slides to point at things. Hello. Late for class. Stayed up all night partying and jamming. Well, don't worry. We haven't even started yet, so you're not even really late. How about that? That'll do, probably. I will change to a different color if I have to. A hyperdimensional soul predator. What? No, bamboo sharks don't eat bamboo. I don't know. Okay, here's our first shark fact of the day. Bamboo sharks are named because of their striped appearance, and not because they eat bamboo, because they're sharks. They don't eat bamboo. Hello, welcome. But anyway, according to everything I found, the first depiction we have of that we can assume is a shark comes to us from the 8th century BC. And you can see, do I already need a different color? Let me grab some red. You can see right here we have someone being eaten by a fish that does not quite resemble a shark, but it's eating this person. So I think we can assume it's generally assumed that that is a shark. Taking around Bama shelter people, but what? Talk about sharks, fascinating creatures. But I've been curious about that. I think a lot of people have, but maybe not enough, as we'll find today. But yeah, I don't know that you can see this section. Oh, I think it's this spot right here is this segment of that. This comes to us from long ago. Can be assumed it has good taste. Yeah. Yeah, this is the oldest identifiable shark depiction that we have. There's a lot of various Greek myths involving sea monsters that may or may not be kind of sharkish. Generally sea monsters though. Definitely not depicted as any kind of accurate, realistic looking shark. Hold on, I have to acquire my notes. The ancient version of side scrollers. True actually. But a little after this, we have Aristotle wrote about sharks in a sort of, I'll say, scientific capacity, based on actual observations of sharks in their habitat, and was the first to write about their use of like nursery spaces in like warm water areas for their young. And nobody else made any progress on that knowledge for 2,000 years. Go team. So yes, they were yeah, they were pretty hardcore for fighting sea monsters hand to hand and also actually observing creatures in their environment. Shocking. And then let's see. After this we have the Romans. Scuba diver Aristotle Giga Chat, true. After this we have this lovely mosaic from Pompeii. Then we have a later different mosaic over there, but we have this lovely mosaic from Pompeii where you can see this guy and this guy are sharks, and this guy's a ray, and they're related, but they're not quite the same. They made observations, assumed that was the end of it, yeah. Fish fought sharks and became first marine biologist. Well, I don't know if Aristotle was fist fighting sharks, but the Romans didn't do a lot to develop on the Greek knowledge of sharks, but they did sort of re-record it, and Pliny, I finally looked up the pronunciation, and I was told that it is actually pronounced Pliny, and I could not believe that. It sounds so silly to me. But anyway, Pliny wrote about dogfish attacking divers, and how they were clever enough to hide under the boat to attack people, and how I don't think it was listed exactly like this, but this is the first recorded instance of shark punching. He advised scaring the sharks off by bonking them on the nose if they try to get you. Dogfish are these guys, very small sharks, so they're not like a huge threat or anything. But they were trouble for divers in that time. Any Norse or Icelandic depictions of sharks? I don't have any of those here specifically. But I know there's a book I ran across about basking sharks that I think deals with that kind of area. That I did not get to reading, but yeah, I didn't come across a lot of the sources I was able to find deal mostly with like this sort of like traditional European classical tradition and whatnot. And it was hard to find sources for other cultures and whatnot. Let's see how they would have arrived at that depiction of a shark in the Heracles pot. It kind of makes sense. You're gonna see a lot of sea monster-y dudes that kind of look like this, but I don't know, it's kind of a shark. What's happening? Every time you hear dogfish, you think of Dog Star? What? Hello! Welcome, you have not missed much. We're just looking at some lovely mosaics. These ones are I always find mosaics wild because like look how realistic this is, and it's all in like little tile. But these are fairly naturalistic looking sharks. But they would have been familiar with no, I've never heard of that. They would have been really familiar with these, as the writing from Pliny describes, like dogfish were really prominent in the areas that they lived in, and so they were sort of a normal part of their lives. But moving on from that, we also have over in the Americas, we have experiences with different kinds of sharks. In the Mediterranean, they were more familiar with the coastal dogfish. Over across the sea, we were more familiar with bigger lads. And The sharks you've seen look like vampires, but say they aren't. That's weird. I don't know what you're talking about, but doesn't this guy... He does look kind of like a croc, doesn't he? Isn't he cute? Kind of covering it up. Hold on, I can move things around. Yep. Why shark have foot and face? Because it's eating somebody. That is a shark eating somebody. Sharks are more interested in concrete and building roads, which sharks usually use. That's true. That's true. They didn't really care that much about all that. Why does shark have unclear vision? Different sharks have different visual capabilities. It kind of depends on the environment that they live in. But also I thought that these Nazca shark bowls were very cute. These are described not specifically as sharks. These are sort of potential sharks. They don't line up 100% with the anatomy of a shark or any other fish, but they're pretty shark-like. I think the ones in the right are especially kind of sharky. More so than the other one, but they're getting somewhere. They're very highly stylized. So like they would have been more familiar with sharks. But they also in these cultures like they didn't have necessarily more naturalistic depictions. They were tended to be more stylized like this anyway. So I feel like we don't really expect the same kind of realistic thing. I wonder if Carthage largely more seafaring civilization had more info on sharks in that period. The thing is, like, as far as I could find the articles that I was reading, like, they describe this is the first and they very clearly lay out, like, as if we know what the distinct records of sharks are. But again, these things are very old, so you have to consider what is or is not surviving, or whether a culture was really into recording things anyway. So like there probably were plenty of places that had more knowledge on sharks, but it didn't really make it to us, so we don't know about it. We also have this, which I will not be able to describe to you in incredible detail because I can't say I really understood. Maya or... Okay, I could not find out. I don't think it said exactly what culture the top right depiction came from. Which was weird. But either that or I missed it somewhere. But as far as I found, they didn't say when or where exactly it came from. But that's to be expected from colonizers. We have this bad boy. We could find a whole shark library, that's true. They're just cousins of sharks. Also Mesoamerican pieces that look like rays. True, probably. There is a lot of overlap between like the things we know about sharks and the things we know about rays, and also their uses. We'll get to that. People researching this is likely biased. Yes, absolutely. One of the articles I read that I got a lot of this from was entirely about the Mediterranean. It was hard to find ones that similarly covered other ones. I found a whole book on depictions of sharks in art, and there's one section of one chapter on the Pacific Islands. Think you're missing the shark in this one? I missed the shark in this one too, don't worry. Alright. Let me see if I can get this right. Here, whoa. I'm on my brush. Here is the head of the shark, if I understood correctly. And then this is the body, and this is the tail. And like this is the dorsal fin. And then there's these are baby sharks along the bigger shark. a stellar stamp. This thing is quite large. This is a big thing. I don't know if you could make it an effective stamp. It's quite detailed also. But so something about this one is there's this connection between sharks and a few other things. One of them is maize. So they described that like parts of the depiction of this shark are also like in line with depictions of maize. Like you have like kernels here, and this is like a double ear, right? And that like they have that association of necessity and importance together. And they also I read about the origins of the word shark, and this is maybe not entirely true. This is still debated. Well, I can't say it's necessarily debated, but it's still debatable. So there's let me find my note on it so that I make sure I say it correctly. Okay, there's the Mayan, I should write it down. There's the Maya word, cholk, which is spelled like that. That is potentially, supposedly, where we get the word shark. Maybe. And it is also the Maya word for count, like numbers. And so like there's some part of that association here, between like sharks and numbers having a tie to each other. It was not very clear information they gave me on that, but an interesting thing, and also potentially where they got the name for sharks, but it's debated. There's, I'll get into it more on the next one. Plus, how different cultures and peoples in the past depicted the same thing differently. Absolutely, very differently. Very different. Greatest thing to fall asleep to? Well, have a good sleep. Community came from Maize, so it's a pretty important thing. Yeah. And sharks and counting have like a tie to that as well. I can't say I fully understood, but here are the sharks and the other stuff. Yeah, so these are the same. This is just like a close-up of the other thing. I don't know if this is where the head of the shark is, or if this is where the head of the shark is. If like this is the whole thing. I think it's just this upper part. I don't know. Does the white hair mean you lived through all this history? Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of very detailed description about like what every single element of this is that I did not have time to go through all of. But we do got shark in there. But anyway, more about the word shark. So they had the word chok, which may or may not have become the word shark via this bad boy. When a shark was brought in by English sailors, and this is the first recorded depiction, or this is the first recorded use of the English word shark, which often used to be spelled with an E, which I find very fun. I feel like I should call myself a shark with an E. I like it a lot. It feels it's extremely old-timey English. But yeah, this is certainly a dude. Shirk is supposed to be potentially another origin of the word shark. Let's see if I have the exact note I made of the different potential origins. I don't think I do. But there are several different languages that can claim something that might have become the word shark. Who knows? But it came into use here in 1569, in print at least, as far as we know. But very shortly after this, it seems to be a very, very common word, so there's definitely part of that story that we're missing. Like to shirk? Yeah. I don't think so, though. I don't know. It's entirely unknown, really. There's just some speculation I read in a couple different articles. Must have been a big day for you to be featured in the papers, yeah. So this was in England, and it was a really big, unusual deal for them because they weren't used to seeing big sharks. They were familiar with dogfish, but this was a big guy, and they all went, "Oh my god, what is that?" And then they ate it. And this was the paper they printed about it. Were sharks known for shirking their responsibilities? Well, in a way. Around, hold on. I have so many pages of notes here. You're kind of a lot smaller since that pic was... Listen, sometimes things change. Around the 17th century, it became very popular to use shark as a verb, and mostly as a descriptor for people. It was more common to use the word shark to describe people and the verb shark than it was to actually like refer to the fish. Shark with an E at the end. Shark, S-H-A-R-K-E. Look at this alien beast. Let's fire up the grill. Yeah, I think they divided it among taverns that served it. If I understood correctly. But this was brought in by a captain who had traveled along the coast of South America and had potentially learned the word chok from people there and may have brought it back, but that's assuming that this first printed use of the word shark is the actual time that the word was introduced to the English language, and so it's kind of iffy, I would say. Never encountered food they couldn't boil the flavor out of. I'm told that sharks don't taste great. So who knows? What did it taste like? Probably not good. I don't think they said. If you can read this, then maybe you can find out, but yeah, this is our first reprinted instance of the word shark, and also a big encounter for the English to go, oh my god, what is that thing? Why does it have so many fins? The artist may have exaggerated a little bit on the number of fins. Bite your arm, report back. Yeah, just a little. A meal known as bacon shark? Yeah, some cultures do eat sharks and like them, but some cultures catch sharks and refuse to eat them, so. Probably for the best, they didn't taste good, they would have been hunted to extinction. Oh, don't worry, we'll get to the hunting to extinction. No, that's still a thing, don't worry. Let's see what else we got. We have some beautiful, beautiful sharks. They took dogfish a little literally here. These are both depictions of Jonah being devoured by the whale or shark. Apparently it is debated whether it was a whale or a shark, but they took dogfish quite literally. I'm going to think that this is meant to be sharks just because of that and the teeth and whatnot. But we had a great understanding of sea creatures in the 16th century. Very dog. Very dog. Where did I had a note? Who was it? There was, maybe it was Pliny again. Or maybe it was a later thing. Someone described, no, it was, in the 7th century, it was, explained that, dogfish were called that because the more familiar land creatures were named first, and then the less familiar sea creatures were named after them, and they reminded people of dogs and like wolves, I guess, and so they became dogfish. But they took it quite literally, some of them. Very oily, yes. Dogfish, sea lions. Sea lions are a totally different thing. Dogfish is a small shark. Or in this case, a really big shark monster thing. For some reason. So they were definitely not familiar with sharks in sort of the main chunk of Europe around this time. They didn't really interact with the sea that much, so they just had whatever wild reports came to them. Whatever old knowledge without illustrations had reached them. They were coated in oil while alive, which helped them move. Oh. Yeah, it's definitely not it. How can I name this animal in a way that they understand it's an aggressive sea creature? A dogfish! 100 years later, he said dogfish, they gotta look doggy. Yup. That's pretty much it. But yeah, in that time when they described why dogfish got their name, they also did not really add any additional knowledge on sharks. They just kind of went, this is what we know about them. This is what we know about the dogfish. But yeah, these guys at this time didn't really engage with the sea very much, so they didn't know any better. This is what they thought a shark or a whale was. What the dogfish doing? We also have another lovely shark thing. I don't know what that's supposed to be in its mouth. I think that the article I read didn't say. It didn't say. It also has a collar. We're taking dogfish to a whole other level. It has a collar now. Oh, the blues in those paintings. Yeah, it was fun. Random quote in a letter to Henry VI, 1442, that mentions a shark following the ship. Apparently it confuses everyone because it's so much earlier than other English uses. See? Okay, there we go. See? Who knows about the origin of the word shark? Also, I was lied to, if that's the case. Is it playing fetch? I'm told that this man's fighting for his life, but I think it's playing fetch. Meanwhile, the lion. Yeah. Yeah, who knows? The guy's helmet. Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, maybe it's his helmet. Who knows how it got that, but cute dog! I love the really big, like, scales. I love, this fin? Fin? Foot? Paw. Whatever that is. Yeah, maybe that is his helmet. Looks like he's holding the axe away from the shark because he's trying to take it. Yeah, it looks more like that and less like he's trying to attack it, for sure. So yeah, they were really still doing great. 16th century, we still had no idea. But then eventually, we started trying to study sharks. We were doing great at it. I've included a couple of other animals. The descriptions I read about the way sharks are depicted in this book made it sound so sensational. I was like, what do the other animals in the book look like? They vary. You can see this chameleon here who is doing. He's all right, but that bird is very lifelike. So there's like as a point of reference of like what they were capable of seeing in animals, how they depicted animals that they were more familiar with versus whatever that is. He looks like a necromancer's familiar. Yeah, his mouth is really scary. I've never seen it. But part of what might have gone awry with this dude is that it was probably drawn from a dead shark, possibly preserved in some manner. Yeah, it's definitely not a live shark, but it ends up looking quite fantastical. But I like that all of the things that I read that mentioned this guy and this like horribly strange and fantastical shark never mentioned that he drew this one. It's like, he's alright. He's alright. Look at him. He's okay. He's a shark. He's not bad. So you had a range even within the same work of the realism of sharks, but we were trying, kind of. Yeah, he's just a nice little guy. Hard to look at things underwater when you don't have goggles. True. He looks very Elden Ringy. Yeah, the one on the right is pretty sick, even if it's not like exceedingly accurate or anything. He is really cool looking. Let me see if I had anything more specific about this guy. I don't think so. But he was trying. We made progress, you know? It's definitely a step up from this guy. So understandable given the transit history. We find the first instances of speculation. Yeah. Of sailors panicked, misremembered, exaggerated description. Yeah. Something else that we run into is once more people are more familiar with those misremembered, exaggerated descriptions, we get a lot of paintings of those. See how this inspired tales of sea monsters? Absolutely. I wanted to get more wild pictures of sea monsters in here that were probably based on stories that were actually about sharks, but I didn't quite get those going. We got some though. And then let's see, hold on, let's get the year. This was 1551. By 1554 and 58, we were making more progress. We were looking at some more sharks and we were getting closer. We were trying to actually make observations about them. We were once again trying to observe them and develop our knowledge of them and not just go, I don't know, it's a fish. Big fish. So we had a few people around this time making woodcuts and illustrations and compilations of known sharks. And you know what? They're getting there. Hammerite goes, he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah. They did pretty good with him, didn't they? And they got the way that they got him from above and below, so you can see the mouth. A lot of descriptions of sharks, a lot of old descriptions of sharks are really caught up on the way that the mouth is like underneath. And they go, he can't bite anything like that. He has to turn to the side to be able to bite things. What a silly fish. Which is not entirely true, actually. Every shark gummies, I don't know, maybe. The bottom one speaks to you. Isn't he fun? The two on the left are from the same work, and then the other one on the right is the other one. Here you also get the difference between like a woodcut on the right that's a little less, it's a little rougher than the other illustrations. So this was when we were starting to go, wait a second, let's do science. So we were getting somewhere. Still in Europe, sharks were large sharks at least were largely a curiosity. Here we have a cabinet of curiosities with a couple of shark teeth. It was kind of just like, it was just an odd rarity that we would throw in with other odd rarities that we had, as I don't know, these sea monster things. Yeah, I don't know why it says that. I don't know why it says that on the guy. A box of shark gummies? You think I want gummies? You can see like random foreign coins and shells and that kind of thing were sort of on the same level here as shark teeth, as things rich people liked to collect. There's a whole other folder I had collapsed on accident. Cool. Nice variety flowers. True, this was sort of in that time when we were really into paintings of flowers. But that's a different talk we could do. I feel like I'm missing so much. I feel like I'm just skimming over a lot, but I don't know. We're moving and grooving. I can always circle back for things if I come across them later. But not the gummies in the tortilla. Man. But anyway, here we have more progress on shark research. This guy was mostly known for dissecting a great white shark head and publishing his findings, and also making progress on studying fossils. But this is certainly so this guy, this comes 100% for sure from an actual experience of handling a shark. A dead shark at that, but definitely not anything made up. This was our 100% from life depiction of a shark, and he's slightly fantastical still. Slightly fantastical still. He's at the dentist. But something that this guy observed that was sort of along the lines of what was already being learned at that time. It was believed when people were finding like fossilized shark's teeth, and they thought that they were like dragon tongues or like serpent tongues that had been fossilized. And this guy went, wait a second, them shark teeth actually. And that was a big progress. Also from Mesoamerica, people use sawfish as swords. Possibly that led to the Macua. I can see. Seeing sword used in Central Mexico. Ooh, that's cool. I just thought the top of the head was too boring, right? Like that must be it. But yeah, he does have quite a like human nose, right? It's very odd. Shark Woody ate a bag of lemons. Yeah, he's quite a guy. I told him to play Overwatch 2. Yeah, so if you ever need a reaction image, this guy's a strong contender, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. He also, it might be intended to be some kind of depiction of like the musculature, because he was dissecting it. So this might be part of the process of decay, and also partly like intended to depict what's under the skin. But who knows? Who knows? He made good progress on fossils, though. People were getting interested in that kind of thing at the time. And do sharks have tongues? That's a good question. I have a tongue. This shark has a tongue. Yes? Never thought about it. I could tell you other things about sharks, shark anatomy and behavior and things, but hold on. Surely, yes, right? Do sharks have tongue? Sharks have something kind of like a tongue. Sharks don't have a tongue, but they have something like a tongue. Just a muscle pushed up in. Yeah, not a real tongue. Tongue, not tongue. Yeah, that's what they're up to. Now we know. Just ate the bone script. I think it's dragon bone in the 19th century. Oh, there is a bit of history to be had on China and sharks. We are learning so much today. But anyway, this was 1668. We're getting to when we started to get into the big sensational dramatic depictions of grand fearsome sharks. I wanted to get more in here about like writing on sharks. There was definitely a lot of use of sharks in like literature and poetry for various fearsome things, and there were a lot of reports on shark attacks and whatnot. But here we have perhaps the most famous painting of a shark, where we have Watson and the Shark, which is depicting a true story of a young man being rescued from shark attack. And this he's looking okay. He's kind of realistic. Apparently, Copley had access to a natural history museum where he would have been able to go and see like shark jaws. And also his neighbor for some time was James Cook, who had gone on expeditions around the Pacific and had an artist with him. This guy who made fairly accurate depictions of sharks and other things that were seen around there, so he would have had those to reference. But he's not like, he's not necessarily identifiable as any particular shark. He's not 100%. But yeah, he has a very intensely rendered eye. Evolution from weird big fish to evil man-eating demons of the sea. Yeah. Make a look, get out of the water. Yeah, that's Watson, who lost a leg in this, but managed to be saved and went on to have a prominent life after that as a trader, I think they said. But he told his story to Copley, and he made this painting, which there's actually a couple different versions of it, but that is impressive, yeah. I was naked on the boat where he took his clothes off after falling in the water. He didn't fall in the water, he was swimming. He went swimming in, I think it was Havana Bay? Havana. And he was attacked by a shark and this boat happened to save him. It's funny, we have a harpoon being used here, and in looks like a Pixar shark. We have a harpoon being used here, and we have a harpoon being used in this other painting that's an imitation of that painting. Harpoons are not especially effective against sharks. They have very, very tough skin. Not the best way to go about trying to kill a shark. Also, this painting features a shark that is not much of a shark. Somebody did not do as much research as who they were basing it on. We also have another cute little weirdo over here who's definitely a terrifying shark. She's He's gotta bonk him on the nose. Well, true. More or less. I did read about how there are several reports and stories of people jumping on the backs of sharks to scare them away when trying to save someone from an attack. That's also pretty effective. But harpooning, not the best option. There's a lot of like traditional shark fishing that's done with clubs. Apparently this was done for a very long time in a lot of cultures around the world. Shark fishing was done by going out in a small boat and getting the shark to swallow the bait and the hook whole, and then it's distracted and uncomfortable because of the hook, and then once it wears itself out, they like pull it in near to the boat and then club it to death. That's how you do it, apparently. Because you couldn't really rely on like a regular hook because it would just bite through the line. Sounds like an awful way to die. Totally. Maybe the membrane of her spine's put on the shark and just a blob for a head. Yeah. Shark skin's like sandpaper. You don't want to just jump on them. Well, it's only like sandpaper if you touch it the wrong way. The denticles go in a direction. So like if you were to touch a shark sort of from front to back, it's not really going to be that rough. If you go back to front, it'll be rough. But yeah, I guess if you were jumping on it. But I think the thing is, if you are trying to save someone from potentially dying, it doesn't really matter if you come into contact with a little bit of sandpaper. Thank goodness this shark lives in a more civilized time. Well. It looks like a weird goldfish. He does look like a weird goldfish. So I'm gonna call someone from SCP the Shark Punching Center. But what if you graze your knee? I don't think anyone has tried jumping on me. I have been safe from that, but I also have never tried attacking anyone. So 1820 shark guiding games on your phone. But yeah, there's so many pictures and accounts of sharks that are in the vein of these, where it's like very, very dramatic and there's immense peril. And that all largely comes from misunderstandings of shark behavior. Long established sensational fear of sharks that is not really founded in reality. Yeah, he does look more like a whale. He looks like a lot of things other than a shark. Beyond this, we have the natural history of the fishes of Massachusetts. So even in this time, even all the way in 1843, we're still not quite there. That's a great white in the top right. That's how I remember them. Hold on, let me move the one guy over. You can see his eyebrow. He's giving you quite a look. Yeah, he does look like he had a bad day. Back when sea dog didn't mean sea lion, true. Yeah, I mean, dogfish is still a term for some sharks, but we weren't totally making progress. Also, this is from a really no. This is one that tries to describe a bit about the behavior of sharks, but doesn't quite get more, you know? It was hard to... the thing about sharks is that we still don't know that much about them because they're so hard to observe, so we can't really blame everybody back then for not really making a ton of progress on the science of it. Right, what really got their glow up in the last 100 years, definitely. Famously far away from the sea. Yeah. Nothing could have been done, that's right. Yeah, nothing could have been done. But that's that. But if we go a little bit further, now we're really doing it. Now we've got real, specific, well-identified, realistically captured sharks. It only took that long. Attacked by any animal is more than likely going to be another human. True. Go out of your way to get attacked by a shark. Yeah, we'll talk about that some more. Yeah, we got real fish here. A whale shark nursery and underwater volcano. That would make sense. Why is the realistic face funnier than the messed up ones? Because sharks are really funny looking. Some sharks are really funny looking. Yeah, some sharks are quite pointy. We have quite a variety of dead empty sharks. He does look worried. What is he worried about? I mean, he's probably dead, so that's something to be worried about, but maybe that's the expression he had before they got him. Yeah, that's progress on that. Oh jeez, I'm gonna be late for work. Rotary. Yeah, the bottom left one does look quite angry. An epaulet shark. No. It is not. And then we have some more super realistic sharks. This is a Turner painting that I don't remember the very, very long original title of it, but this is a painting of, or at least this is the most prominent painting dealing with a very common theme at this time that was trying to push for abolition of the slave trade. So this is based on a story of an attempted insurance stunt where sick slaves were dumped off of a ship into the water, which was a very common practice for slaves who died along the way in the sea to just be dumped to the sharks. And so there are a lot of descriptions of sharks following slave ships and waiting for their food from them, and that was used for abolitionists made a lot of use of that imagery to make it hit home how horrific it was. But it seems that Turner was not really concerned with the specifics of the shark. Them's koi or something. I don't. Those aren't sharks in the slightest, but they're doing it, I guess. One of the things I read that talked about this painting described it like the specifics of the shark was just not what he would have been concerned with, so he didn't bother. And I guess that makes sense. Yeah, these are the sharks. Wait, I'm not on my brush again. These are the sharks. These guys. They're just kind of fish. Thought they were birds. Nope. Them sharks. He just wants to drive a point home. Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's the vibe of sharks. It's the vibe of sharks swarming to feed upon this poor individual. Less about actually the sharks. Yeah. And that's where we're at by 1840. Let's see what else we got. Before that time, And in other places, we see the popularity of shagreen, which is shark or ray skin. In Japan, shagreen was used quite commonly in places where you would normally see other leather, because they didn't really have cattle for leather. And so you see it a lot for the grips of swords because its texture made it for a good grip. You also have, yet again, sharks that aren't quite sharks. But shagreen was also a sort of fun rarity for rich people in Europe who enjoyed it for things like this microscope. This microscope uses ray skin, but it's the same idea. I had more specifics on the things they used it for. They used it on like handles of forks and stuff, and like various cases because it was also like waterproof. I'll mention shark skin stuff in Moby a few times. Yeah. And then much later we get to like people in America trying to turn it into a whole industry, and that leading to a lot of shark fishing, but that's not until like I think the 19th century. Where the heck? Oh, here it is. Shagreen was also used for like surgical tools in like their cases and like luxury items like this that were it was just a thing fancy people liked to have. It was that kind of thing. I don't think you've ever seen shark leather IRL. I feel like if I have seen it IRL, I wouldn't realize it because I didn't really know about it until now, you know? I feel like maybe I have seen it. On my see also note down there for John Paul Cooper, he did a lot of like little jewelry boxes and stuff that are made out of it, and I feel like it's not entirely impossible that I would have seen something like that in real life without realizing it. But that was another use for sharks. There's also various other cultures used sharks in various different ways, especially in like the Pacific Islands and in Mesoamerica, South America. They regularly, or at least semi-regularly, fished sharks and used them for various things, especially oil. Shark liver oil is kind of a big deal, or at least was kind of a big deal, especially when it became like a real industry at a certain point in America. That was a bad time for sharks, but shark liver oil was consistently used for a really long time in other cultures as well, and shark teeth used for weapons, used for like a decorative sort of or for ritual purposes, that kind of thing. Teeth were popular before, or was that more a recent thing? Shark teeth have been pretty popular just because shark teeth, in places where sharks are common, shark teeth just wash up on the beach frequently, and so they, some cultures use them with some amount of importance. I remember reading somewhere that, I want to say it was mine, but I don't really remember. Some culture used them for like ritual bloodletting. And for some, they were just kind of a standard bit of decoration. Also, hello! Cool strokes at the bottom of the screen. Thank you. Got some jewelry and weapons. Yeah, definitely weapons with shark teeth. Let's see what else we got. We're still doing good work on recording more sharks here, as you can see. By 1913, I think we've got a handle on it. We're sort of expanding knowledge of many more species of sharks and trying to understand them a little better. Also, hello, welcome in. I'm doing pretty good today. Good jewelry, but your shark teeth are fossils. Ooh, fossil shark teeth are fun. But yeah, shark teeth are so common because sharks, you know, shed their teeth so much. Something that I found out that is very common in like descriptions of sharks that are supposed to be quite fearsome, is they always go on about like the 3 rows of teeth, even though not all sharks have 3 rows of teeth. I think they said that some have up to 7, but it seems that everybody only knew there were 3, and it was a very easy like image to use. Should have specced into rows of teeth like sharks. We should have, honestly. Otherwise, very fish-shaped. He is, but some sharks are like that, actually. At that point, we had cameras too. True, but it was a while before we could actually photograph at least living sharks, you know. Goblin sharks are great. Goblin sharks are a very recent sort of known thing, though, you know. Yeah, some sharks have quite a few teeth going on. Rose teeth, not rosy. Wow! Thank you for the 10 memberships. Hold on, my voice is dying on me. Thank you. Oh. Pa! I already talked about it a little bit, sort of the global indigenous relationships with sharks. I don't have a lot of specifics for Pacific Island cultures, unfortunately. And a lot of the things we know about them come from like missionaries, so it's a little dodgy potentially. But these are shark reliquaries. They're partly shark and they're partly based on bonito. But these are reliquaries that they would put people's skulls into, and this was a way to like revere and respect ancestors in these cultures. And they have like a very different relationship with sharks than we would imagine. Bonito is a kind of tuna. The sharks were to be very much to be respected and respectfully feared, and were frequently also deities of various kinds. What's the mouth of a cookie cutter shark? Yeah, they're really something. But these people would have also lived in much closer connection to sharks and large sharks, living where they did and living off of the sea quite a bit. Definitely a very different relationship than the Europeans who went, oh my god, what is that monster? And also went to these places and went, oh my god, what is that monster? Steampunk sub-design, true. These, especially the bottom one, it looks like metal. It is made of wood. These are both carved from wood. I know that the bottom one has some sort of something about the picture of it makes it look like it's metal. It is not. But these are, I should put it in the text actually. There we go. I tried to like find out more about different sort of non-canon cultures and sharks, but it's hard. What's that monster? Let's eat it. Yeah. There are some really awful tales of sailors and the things they did to sharks in like some kind of sick revenge idea. That was quite bad. And then we get to another relatively famous painting with sharks of a man who seems to have been left for dead to these sharks. And they are quite realistic, naturalistic looking sharks. They're here being used, of course, for the sake of fear, but they're doing their thing. And this is also just a very nice painting anyway. My voice. Too much yapping. Yeah, the sharks are chilling. They're waiting. The sharks be waiting. Something that you see in this painting and in a lot of painting is the sharks rolling to their side. And that was something that was commonly believed as a like attack behavior. Like I mentioned before how they were so obsessed with the way that the shark's mouth is on the bottom and they would have to turn to bite things effectively. A shark's usual hunting behavior is not to turn when attacking something. When they're hunting, they bite head on without rolling. And apparently when they do roll to the side to bite something, it's more to do so like out of curiosity. They're not really looking to attack, they are just investigating. So this is a sort of misunderstood behavior that they are painting here, but of course we didn't know about that for a really long time. That's only been quite recently that we've been able to effectively, at least somewhat effectively, study shark behavior like that. But in a bingo once, it's a good one. Little curiosity gnaw. Yeah, that accounts for many attacks on humans actually by sharks. Is they take a little nibble and they go ew and they leave, and people go, oh my god, what this is a horrible man-eater. Whale shark looks like it's looking at the camera / painter going, hey bro, you done? Can I leave now? He's sick of posing. Do you roll when you go to take a bite of your fajitas? Or do you go with the straight munch? I go with the straight munch. It is not a curiosity investigation bite. It's a real commitment. Investigate everything by doing a biopsy. Look, that's all they got, okay? That's what they do. They do also nudge things to kind of figure them out. That is most of the art I have. But there's a few other things. Around the 19th, 20th century, sort of around the time this was happening was when some people in America decided it would be a good idea to try to make shark leather a popular industry and went through to great lengths to figure out how to remove the denticles to make it like an effective regular leather. I don't know what possessed them to do this, but they did figure it out and it led to an immense amount of shark fishing. Shark liver oil became quite popular as an industry until I think it's vitamin A was synthesized. And was able to replace it because shark liver oil is quite rich in vitamin A and had a lot of medicinal use. And so that led to a lot of shark fishing. I think how dogs investigate with their mouths what they have. Yeah, it's what they got. Roll has real. I'm drowning. Please help me up. There was a stretch of time in the around World War II where there was a lot of trouble with sailors and pilots being afraid of being eaten by sharks, fairly. And the Navy put a lot of work into trying to craft shark deterrents to make people more comfortable with the idea of being, stranded in the sea for some period of time before they could be rescued. Those were not effective in the slightest, but they sure did put a ton of time into them. And initially, they did just lie. So what they tried to do is they tried to say, no, you have no reason to fear sharks. You will not be attacked by a shark. You don't have to worry about it. And then nobody was sold on that, so they started working on deterrence and went, okay, if you have the deterrent, you'll be safe. That wasn't really true, but they probably didn't have a lot of worry about shark attacks anyway. But there was a well-known report of a specific, I think it was a ship went down, and then another ship came to rescue them, and they reported in great detail how those who had drowned were being eaten by the sharks. And everyone went, so we're not safe from the sharks. Very source trust me, bro. The USS Indianapolis, yeah. I know. How do I know that as soon as I mention military history, somebody's gonna know about it? Wonder if a slap on a shark's nose is like a mental flashbang. Probably, yeah. Grandma would still buy shark liver medicine back when you were little. Yeah, it's like, it's also, cod liver is also used for the same thing. There was also apparently some sort of top secret project where they were trying to remote control sharks and use them as torpedoes. And that's still considered top secret, and they will probably never reveal the great shame of that they spent like 40 years trying to make work. I think the barely visible ship in the distance. Yeah, the barely visible ship that was that could have saved this guy and is sailing away instead. Cod liver was awful. I bet it was. Apparently, shark liver oil was prescribed to be taken like for people who were like ill and needed it for the like high vitamin content. It was prescribed to take like a couple teaspoons and then to work up to taking 3 wine glasses of it a day. Nasty. I don't want to imagine. I don't want to imagine how gross that would have been. But eventually they synthesized vitamin A, so there was no longer a shark liver oil industry. Or at least there was much less of one. Wonder how many livers go into 3 wine glasses. It depends on the sharks. The sharks that they were primarily hunting for that were pretty small. They were comparable to the ones you see on the bottom of the screen right now. So they were pretty little. Would have taken a lot of them. I don't think I made note of the exact numbers, but I read something that did talk about it. And it was quite a bit. How many sharks you gotta milk for that much of it? Yep. Yeah, that's what they were on about. And then let's see, we get to the modern day, of course, where we have a lot of different depictions of sharks. Sharks have come a long way. Sharks have come a long way. Jaws is probably the most well-known shark media, and also the most and one article I read listed it as the most influential film ever in the like impacts that it's had, because it was really, really catastrophically bad for sharks. It took a lot of time to recover from Jaws. But now here we are, where sharks are anime girls. Jaws, where you learned with the USS Indianapolis. Oh, see, I didn't like rewatch Jaws or anything. I have seen Jaws. I watched it in high school, I think. Welcome back. Honorable mention to other shark movies that are far less harmful to sharks. Author spent the rest of his life dedicated to shark conservation to try to undo the damage. Yeah. It led to a ton of like shark sport fishing because people people started thinking it was their duty to remove sharks from the world to save people from them, and it was terrible. Horrible thing that they did with that. No mention of Jason Statham's documentary The Meg. Sorry, I don't think that was even mentioned. I read yesterday and today, I read most of a book about sharks in art and media, and I kind of skimmed the sharks movies section. I don't think it was mentioned, but I also don't know when this book came out and when that came out. Strong parallels with what happens with wolves. Yeah. It's really more about political corruption and action than about the shark. Yes, but leave it to people. But yeah, I really like the book I read held up Sharknado as like the best comedic shark movie. Because it's like so absurd that nobody could really like take issue with sharks from it. Oh, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. That's true. We do have Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You got fun Shark Time and Chainsaw Man also. Because it is. If only this is mosquitoes instead of sharks. Guy you knew was an extra in Sharknado. Oh, that's fun. Can you imagine being able to go, I was in Sharknado? Fear sharks for like 2 decades. Exactly. It's terrible. Also, the mobile gaming legend Hungry Shark Evolution. What is that? The best shark comedy is Shark Tale. Okay. We also have Finding Nemo as a mention of sharks. That's not really a good portrayal of sharks. Ever been denied entry into aquatic parks due to your sharkness? Any words for all those sharks out there being profiled? Our day will come. But yeah, the book I read, which was Sharks in the Arts, spends a lot. It's definitely a book written with like a specific aim to highlight the negativity and depictions of sharks over history, and to try to locate like better options and alternatives and better ways of depicting sharks. To the point where I think that at some point they go a little bit too hard on like, I don't know, criticizing fear of sharks, because like to a certain point for people historically it made sense to be afraid of sharks to a certain extent, you know? Some sharks actually smell. Wait. Sharks smelly due to them not having a bladder. Oh yeah, those guys. Once it was a shark who you think is bad but turns out to be a bro. Yeah, that's great shark representation. But yeah, it made sense for people back in the day who didn't like have the opportunity to understand shark behavior to be afraid of sharks. But there's no reason for that to continue now when we still don't really understand sharks incredibly well, because there's not a lot of funding for research on them, and they're also very, very difficult to research due to their like migration patterns and also declining populations. We understand them a lot better, and people can like quite safely dive with sharks and be relatively confident that it won't go wrong. It's just a matter of like understanding what they see as prey and what is a provocative behavior to them. But people didn't know that back then. But we do now. The worst thing we're doing is with pollution and trying to keep sharks in aquariums, which mostly ends badly, but they keep trying. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a lot of other problems today. I think we've reached a point where negative perception of sharks is not as prevalent as it used to be. But sharks are definitely still facing a lot of trouble. There is the huge problem of shark finning, which I think has at least some legal action taken against it now, but shark finning or shark fins used for food, and like shark fin soup was originally a delicacy in China that was something that was so rare and special that it was meant only for the emperor. But in the time when China sort of became more powerful and became more of an economic power, and so more people had more wealth, it became more of a widespread thing. And then shark finning took off as an industry and is just a absolutely abominable practice. That's something to still be on the lookout for fixing, as well as things like pollution and bycatch and that kind of thing. Silly shark game where you eat fish, people, and other junk and grow bigger. Ah, Ubisoft. Wow. How do you feel about the game Maneater? I don't know much about the game Maneater. I know it exists. Some dogs act like sharks. Actually, if they get touched, you become jealous. Yeah, there's fun pictures and video and stuff of divers like playing with sharks. They can be quite fun. Apparently, if you know how to be around them. And at the very least, they tend to be quite shy. They are not openly aggressive to people. They don't really want to eat people. People are nasty for sharks. They are shy and curious on the whole. Hard for so many people to understand that wild animals are wild animals, not good or evil. Absolutely. But yeah, there's been a lot of history that has painted sharks as quite evil and monstrous and aggressive, which is not true. Sharks and aquariums are always bad. Yeah. I don't know, but aquariums tend to be based on, I don't know. That didn't come up in my research, so I won't comment on it. Shark fin is largely tasteless and is a complete waste. That's true. But it had certain cultural associations, traditionally when it, like before it became what it is now, and it's had sort of a symbolic power to it. I think all the shark are pretty silly. Has there been a species of shark that has been driven into complete extinct by humans? I believe several, yes. We still call shady people sharks. Yes, that has still stayed around. That was, I think that used to be more popular, but definitely we still have this like negative view of sharks, and that we describe people negatively by calling them sharks. But yeah, there's also a case of, oh, where was it? Hold on, I'm sure I have notes on it somewhere. There's a case where we hunted seals to extinction along the coast somewhere. In the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, they used to see great whites relatively near to the coast because there were seals that they ate there, but we hunted them to extinction, and so those sharks don't go there anymore. So there were like reports of encounters with sharks that no longer add up with like what we see in shark locations. Give them respect. Yeah, definitely like a respectful fear of sharks, but also I think the average person's chance of encountering a shark is incredibly low, just overall. Like if you're going into the ocean, you should be more concerned about pollution, coming in contact with pollution, than with a shark, just generally. Active campaigner against finning. Yeah, that's good. Caribbean monk seals. Yes! Thank you. Those are no longer around. These sharks are slowly getting a better representation nowadays on the internet. That's true! Classic humanity L. True. There's also a little bit I didn't go into. There is, I didn't include it here because I didn't want to, but there is a series of art pieces by Damien Hirst that were preserved sharks. Those were interesting. You see sharks in your bathroom? What? There's also something big for sort of the perception of sharks over time is photography, and how over time we sort of became able to dive with and take pictures of sharks in the water and see them. People were able to start seeing them as they really are and not just in these like sensational depictions of them. And there's still sensational photography of sharks that makes them fearsome, but it also allows for a better depiction of here's what sharks are really like. They're just chilling. So that's out there. Whoa. Here's all my references. Let me move this. This is also in the description. I just wanted to make sure it was actually also on the video. Here's my references, aside from what was cited already on images. Yeah. And then we also have some more on sharks. These links are also in the description if you want to know more about sharks. If you want to know how you can support sharks. There's things in here that are, you know, not just you can donate and that helps the organization help sharks. The first link especially has a lot of different things that you can do. The second link has citizen science that may not apply to you unless you live near the sea. And just generally info on shark conservation. Places you can support if you would like. These are in the description as well. And that's what I got! I feel like I left out a lot, but I'm not really sure. There's definitely more I could have mentioned, but I feel like I absorbed sort of a general understanding of the topic and less all of these specifics. I think I would like to do better on that in the future, but I didn't manage to have time to organize my notes better. But did you guys like it? What do you think? Would you like to see another stream like this? You'd watch more of these? Cool. Cool. It was very fun to make. It took a lot of doing. A lot of fun. Excellent. You're good. Cool. No. Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay, I'm glad. I was no Shark Boy mentioned. If I'd had more time today, I should have put in more fun pop culture sharks. Even Hearst thing. Real shark? It is a real shark. There were several different ones that he did. Because like he did the first one and then the shark started to like rot and he did other ones. Whoa! Thank you, Infamous Horizon. We love sharks indeed. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked this. It was very fun to put together. It was a lot of work. I have a very long list of other topics to potentially do. They're not shark related, but I don't know, we could do another shark one. I have a lot of art history topics that I would maybe want to touch on. Definitely something like this again. Okay. Cool. How you actually decided to do this turn out so well? I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad I finally did it. I've thought about doing something sort of along these lines before. But I managed to actually commit to it now. And I'm really glad that you guys liked it. I was worried it wouldn't be a big hit or anything. Oh, what do I plan to do next in the style? I don't know. I have a really big list. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I will end up going with. I'm sure you could even get narrower, cover a lot of content in this. Don't want to bring out. Yes, I think so. I would want to do sort of this. This ended up being a topic that was maybe bigger in scope than I thought it would be, and also much harder to research than I thought it would be. There's not a ton of sources out there for this. This specifically. So I think for the next one I would want to do something a little more locked in. Like dropped. To sing the stream. In your opinion, have furries been a net positive or negative for shark kind representation? Net positive. I'd say net positive. But yeah, I'll figure out what to do next. I don't know when that'll be. I definitely learned a lot from trying to put this together, and now I know how to do the tabloids. I know how to go about it a little better next time. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more shark facts. Yeah, who knows? Maybe there'll be more shark facts. Are shark people furries or scalies or a third thing? Well, I don't know. You have the denticles, so I don't know. Can we get a real quick top 3 sharks in media? Oh, definitely Shark Boy. Wait, I'm realizing I'm saying not. Shark Boy isn't actually a shark. And I was gonna say Beam from Chainsaw Man, who is also not quite a shark. He's the lad. I don't know. There's not that many. I could say I don't know, like Bruce from Nemo, but that's not even good that's not good representation. So I don't know if I could pick that one. Jeff the land shark, sure. I don't know anything about that. Honorary shark, okay. Shark Boy. Anthropomorphic fish don't have a name like furries and stuff. Well, there you go. One Avalon. Yeah, I mean, there's also, you know, we could go with Gerda as a top 3 shark in media. I think that's a good. Does that count? I think that's a good pick. Yeah. Those are some good sharks. Absu shark. Can the Sharknado be considered a composite shark? You know, I've actually never seen Sharknado, but I'm gonna go with yeah. Hyper-intelligent shark from deep blue sea. Sure. Top 3, not Bam Girl. Well, the history of sharks in human media. We entered the pinnacle of fictional Shark Boy. As it should be. But yeah, there was maybe too much stuff in here. We'll get something a little more focused next time, and I will actually put together notes on it. Oh yeah, wait, maybe I should have said boo. Wait. Ooh, I should have said boo. I hope he won't be mad about that. Yeah, I hope you guys. I mean, you already said. I'm just cycling through default things to say. I guess that's it. Not enough 12-hour stream of the topic next time. Ah, jeez. I will definitely next time try to have my notes organized in such a way that I can talk about more like specific stuff. There's a lot of stuff I read about that didn't get mentioned in like specific detail that could have been. But that is okay now, I know. And it was still fun. Yeah, who knows, I could make more assets for next time, potentially. Thank you. I'm glad. I was nervous about this. Not like super nervous, you know, but I'm glad it worked out. Oh wait, we have to look at the schedule. We have to look at next week's schedule before we go. 4-hour lecture on the difference between green tomatoes and tomatillo. Here's next week. There you go. I think this is final. I think I did this right. Tomorrow will be Xenoblade. Tuesday will be either more Xenoblade, Crime Scene Cleaner, or Kingdom New Lands. It looks like Kingdom New Lands is taking that one away, with 0 competition. We are finally starting Liza P New Game Plus on Wednesday. And Thursday will be Kazan. I almost swapped out Kazan for Expedition 33. But I decided to swap out Elden Ring instead this week because I really wanted to play more Kazan. But we will be trying out Expedition 33 on Friday. I am not sure I'll like it, but people have been going on about it enough that I figured I will give it a try. We will see. Sinking City will be on Saturday, which I think we are getting near to the end of, so maybe we will move Expedition 33 to Saturday after. Not gonna play 1 through 32 first? Get out of here. I haven't actually seen anything other than it's really good. Same, I saw trailers before it came out, and I wasn't really intrigued by them, but now that it's out and everybody keeps going on about it, I figured might as well. PC Kun okay? Yes, it should be fine. I have the new GPU. Want to play it yourself? Hope I'll have fun with it. I hope so too, but I don't know. Yeah, I gotta keep my good weapon for another week in Elden Ring. Even if I won't be using it, I'll get to hold on to it. But yeah, Sinking City we're getting close to the end of, and then it is time for Marvelous Media Monthly already. We're in another one of those months where the last day of the month is a Saturday, so the French JRPG. It's interesting, gonna be cool to see try it. Yeah, I hope it'll be fun. Like I said, I'm not sure I'll like it, but I'm gonna give it a go. I don't know much about it beyond what I saw in trailers. But yeah, another month up. Yeah, it crept up on me as well. I went, oh wait, that's this week. Maybe now that this is done, I'll actually get some reading done. Who knows? But yeah, make sure you do your bingos if you're gonna. I will get this posted up everywhere. Please slow down. If only it could. If only. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go sit outside and read now. I was very busy trying to get this together yesterday and this morning. Because it's not that I like put it off preparing for this stream. It was that I just really poorly estimated how much time I needed to do it. So that was cool. But she's like, where do we submit the bingos? In the Discord. On the MySpace page. Yeah. Mr. Time, what are you doing? Man, this day's full of breakthroughs. I think the pollen has finally calmed down and it's safe for me to be outside again, but I'm gonna find out. Hopefully. It's been very nice out and I wanna be out there. Also, what should people do if they like the video? They should click the thumbs up button down below and subscribe to see these games next week or other things. Potentially another stream along these lines at some point. Who knows? I think it'd be cool if I could do like one of these a month. Something along those lines. Yeah. In the dedicated Microsoft Teams channel, yeah! Send the bingo to the moon orbit, wait for them to come back. They won't, that's right. Yep, do that. Marketing, I've done it. Look at me go. Yeah. That's what's going on. I will post this in the MySpace and on YouTube. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Xenoblade. I'm glad you guys liked this. I had a good time putting it together. That's all I got. Nice change of pace from full-on gamer mode. Cool. Good. Anyway, everybody, have a good bread. Thanks for coming to the stream. have a good rest of the day or night or whatever it is where you are, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!